Today on Rappler, the Philippines calls for the release of 21 Filipino peacekeepers kidnapped by the Syrian rebels. Malaysia rejects a ceasefire offer by the Sultan of Sulu until his fighters in Sabah surrender. And a group for clergy sex abuse victims blacklists 12 papal candidates. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The Philippines calls for the immediate release of 21 Filipino peacekeepers taken hostage by Syrian rebels in the Golan Heights. In a statement, Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario says the government's main concern is the safety of the peacekeepers. He adds the apprehension and illegal detention of the Filipino peacekeepers are gross violations of international law. The Filipino peacekeepers, 18 soldiers and 3 officers, are assigned to the United Nations Disengagement Observer Force in the Golan Heights to monitor a ceasefire between Syria and Israel. About 30 armed fighters kidnapped the Filipinos inside the ceasefire zone. A rebel spokesman says the troops will be held until the forces of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad pull back from a Golan village. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon demands the Syrian government and rebels respect, quote, UNDOF's freedom of movement and security. President Benigno Aquino says he received information the peacekeepers are treated well and may be released as early as Thursday afternoon. Malaysia's defense minister rejects a ceasefire offer by Sulu Sultan Jamalul Kiram III unless his fighters surrender. In a tweet, Defense Minister Ahmad Zahid Hamidi says a unilateral ceasefire is not accepted by Malaysia unless the militants surrender unconditionally. He adds, don't believe the ceasefire offer by Jamalul Kiram. In the interest of Sabahans and all Malaysians, wipe out all the militants first. In a press conference Thursday, the Kiram family declares a ceasefire to, quote, avoid more bloodshed and crimes against Filipinos in the area. Kiram spokesman Abraham Ijirani says the Sultan's followers will not take any action and will stay wherever they are now. Kiram's announcement comes 2 days after Malaysian security forces launched bombing raids in Lahad Datu, where more than 200 armed followers of the Sultan arrived to assert an ancestral claim over Sabah. Malaysian police say shootouts between the Filipino group and Malaysian forces leave at least 60 people dead. Police say 52 are from the Filipino group. On Wednesday, United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon calls for, quote, dialogue among all parties for a peaceful resolution of the standoff. The Sabah conflict has claimed lives of both Filipinos and Malaysians. It has been the headline the past few days, but has it had much effect on Filipinos in Metro Manila? Catherine Visconti reports.
Assaulting conspiracy theories and a vow to fight to the death. Here in the financial capital of the Philippines, it sounds far-fetched, but across the country, a Filipino sultan is waging war on Malaysia. The Sultan's self-styled royal army, a band of about 180 people, invaded Sabah. They were staking their historic claim to the resource-rich state, which is about the size of Ireland and located at the northern tip of Borneo and south of Palawan. It reflects poorly on both countries' top leaders during election season. But do Filipinos here in the capital even care?
Do you know where Sabah is?
Sabah? Yeah, Malaysia, yeah.
It's in Borneo.
Borneo. I don't have any idea in Borneo.
Borneo.
Yeah.
Northern tip, Borneo, Malaysia. It's
City? Or
south
it's a
of
city or
Palawan.
south?
It's an area.
Area in Palawan.
South of Palawan. It's basically in dispute between Malaysia and a sultan of a Filipino sultan.
Yung balita nitong nakaraan.
Why do you care about this issue?
Because it's ours.
Most Filipino people say that Sabah belongs to Filipinos because Sultanate from Malaysia and Sabah gave the Sabah to Filipino Sultanate.
Do you care much about this issue?
I don't really care about it. I guess what I care is the corruption here in the Philippines.
Do Do you think the government is doing enough?
Tingin ko not enough pa eh. Tingin ko si Pangulong Pinoy mas maging agresibo pa, mas bigyan pa ng tuunan pa ng pansin yung Sabah.
Do you think the president has done enough?
I think the president is trying to be smart with his moves right now. So I don't think it's done enough yet. It's too early to say.
Supreme Court spokesman Attorney Teddy Te speaks about challenges facing the court under its first female Chief Justice, Maria Lourdes Sereno. After being appointed in August, Sereno called for a return to, quote, the dignified days of silence when justices were only heard through their decisions. In a thought leader's piece for Rappler, Te says the judiciary needs silence to ensure the court's, quote, insulation from undue pressure.
I think it's becoming clear that in terms of the public engagement on political issues, on economic issues, on governance issues, the court needs the detachment, needs the space to be able to think, and then come up with a decision in the proper case. And that's where that silence helps.
But Te acknowledges there's also a need to reach out to the public. He says the Chief Justice has two roles, an adjudicator and an administrator. You want dignified silence to buffer the court so it can make its decisions, but at the same time, you want to reach out to the public so the public can understand the court. How will you do this? Like, for example,
one, it's important that the people understand that there is a Chief Justice and there are 14 other justices, okay, who comprise one court, and that court is supposed to speak as one. Using its decisions, okay? So in that sense, the Chief Justice as an adjudicator should be read, not heard. The Chief Justice is an administrator as well.
Right.
So she has to deal with judges. She has to deal with the entire judicial bureaucracy.
yes,
So it's important that she's heard there.
because President Benigno Aquino has plans for two retiring allies in the Senate. Senators Panfilo Lacson and Kiko Pangilinan will end their Senate terms by June. In an ambush interview in Davao City, Aquino says he wants Lacson to become his administration's, quote, fireman, who will look into government's potential problems before they blow out of proportion. Lacson was chief of the National Police before he became a senator. As senator, he's also known for his exposés. Aquino says Pangilinan will focus on the agricultural sector, one of the Aquino administration's priorities. Small and medium enterprises are invigorating the economy. The youth, eager to carve their own path, are on the forefront of the revolution. Devon Wong reports.
With GDP and consumer spending on the rise, young people aren't planning to sit on the sidelines.
Striking while the iron is hot. It really is. Starting my own SME before and seeing all these other small businesses pop up now, I really think that there's kind of an SME revolution.
Rachel is one of a growing number of young entrepreneurs who are paving the way for other aspiring business owners. She runs a web magazine with how-to articles and workshops. Young entrepreneurs are a rising demographic. Many are choosing the less conventional route over corporate ambitions.
Maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was expected of someone who just graduated from university to go and work for a large corporation, and I don't think that that's the case anymore.
Youth are more attracted to the idea of being their own bosses and working alongside other young and energetic business owners.
Well, we all have day jobs. It was more of doing something together because we were all like friends. And the common factor is that we were looking for a business.
Ron Reyes launched a mobile coffee company with his friends last year. The idea came naturally, but setting up the business was a slow brew.
It was harder than we thought. On paper, it might be easy, like when you're gonna think about it, I need this, I need that. But the process is really challenging.
One of the biggest challenges facing young entrepreneurs is finding a support network to share experiences and guide each other through the process of setting up a new business. But it's a challenge that's been met by its own group of innovating entrepreneurs.
how to begin, where do I find the right partners, who to collaborate with at the end of the day, because they need to be able to work with other people to get their businesses off the ground.
Francesca's business is one that helps other aspiring business owners through a co-working and networking space. She says the effect is not only practical, but inspiring.
At least working here, there's definitely a lot of hope and a sense of progress and development. I feel like people are a lot more empowered to do things on their own.
Entrepreneurs and freelancers can connect and work alongside each other through challenges that can otherwise be lonely and frustrating in the digital age.
At least here you could connect with different people, different personalities, from different industries, possibly collaborate.
In the early stages of setting up a new venture, the uncharted territory can be daunting for young entrepreneurs. But there's value in sharing space, ideas, and motivation. It may be a competitive market, but collaboration might be the key. Devin Wong, Rappler, Manila.
Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 7, Egypt's administrative court cancels parliamentary elections scheduled for April 22, throwing the country deeper into political crisis. A judge says President Mohamed Morsi ratified a new electoral law last month without sending it to the Supreme Constitutional Court for approval. At number 8, scientists say the subatomic particle discovered last year is looking, quote, more and more like it could be the elusive Higgs boson. The particle is believed to explain why matter has mass, but scientists are still trying to determine if the particle has spin 0, which will allow it to be known as a Higgs. And at number 10, Pavel Dmitrichenko, a soloist of the prestigious Bolshoi Ballet, admits he was involved in the acid attack on artistic director Sergei Filin. Moscow police say he signed a written confession along with other suspects. The police say Dmitrichenko masterminded the attack in January. His accomplice, Yuri Zarutsky, flung acid into Filin's face. Filin, a former Bolshoi star dancer himself who became artistic director, is fighting to keep his eyes, his eyesight, and risks permanent facial disfigurement. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Clergy's sex abuse victims on Wednesday released a dirty dozen list of potential papal candidates. The U.S.-based Survivors Network of those abused by priests urges the church to, quote, get serious about protecting children and exposing corruption. The organization cites a dozen cardinals, 3 from the United States and 9 from other countries. The cardinals are accused of protecting pedophile priests and making offensive public statements related to the abuse scandals. They're all considered contenders to succeed Pope Benedict XVI. The group also opposes electing any member of the administrative branch of the Holy See, saying this would discourage victims from reporting abuse. Every story on Rappler has its own mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel, and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories which have gotten the most votes on their mood meter. Let's take a look today. We've got Twitter on sports, ablaze as new UAAP rules stunts UAAP fans. You've got 50% angry there. A story that's been on Rappler's Mood Navigator the last few days. We did a hashtag PH vote with Cynthia Villar. 58% happy, but also 26% annoyed. That leads to the story that's gotten the most number of votes. 81% annoyed. Today, most people are annoyed. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Thursday, March 7, 2013. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.